Welcome to What's the Deal with Sam? Starring Sam Lilly. Join Sam as he discusses a wide variety of topics.
Bad
Now let's start the show.
Thank you. What's the deal with console cycles? They're like motorcycles with the ground. I mean, this is kind of more related to, I'm doing this February of 2024 that I'm recording this, in case you're watching this way later, or I don't get all these edited and posted until way later. Not that I would ever do that, but I will do that all the time. Is that, basically there's been a lot of stuff going on here. There's been, a lot of rumors and things about a Switch 2 coming out. There's been people waiting with bated breath, just so certain that it's going to come out, and then so certain that it's been delayed, and listening to rumors of, I heard from a reliable source who can't reveal where they heard it, people saying that, confirming some things on other things, but nothing's been officially announced, because nobody can goddamn wait for a fucking announcement. They gotta be like, here's the leaks, here's the rumors, here's the speculation, and here's the thing, and it's like, we don't know, but we're like really, really sure, and then when they're wrong, it's like, well, I guess maybe you shouldn't have. Just wait for the announcement. You're setting yourself up to be disappointed when shit doesn't happen, or if it does happen, you'd be like, what is the advantage of knowing even? Oh, I already knew that. I actually read that rumor already, so I basically already knew. I pretty much work at Nintendo, so that's how I knew the Switch 2 existed as a thing. Before I believed in Switch 2 rumors before it was cool. Like, before the Switch even came out, I was like, I really hope there's a Switch 2, and I bet there's going to be one. And I was right. So I'm actually, better than everyone else. I don't know. But then people are getting, really excited about this shit, whatever. People get hyped up about these announcements, and it's like, just fucking wait for them to actually officially say the fucking thing. Jesus Christ, can you just wait for them to say it? Because then if you're like, oh man, it's gonna happen, and then it gets, it doesn't happen, you're like, oh, it got delayed, I'm so mad they delayed it. They didn't delay shit, they didn't tell you anything, they haven't announced fucking anything. If they're like, hey, this is gonna come out now, and then hey, we're pushing it back, that's them delaying it. It's not, and maybe you say behind the scenes a delay, but since nothing's official, that's not set in stone at all. The public doesn't know when the shit's gonna happen, so it's really easy to move that around. Here's the expected date, or where we're planning or something, or a projection date or some shit. Just wait for the official fucking announcement. And if something happens in the official announcement, and it's officially something changes, then you can officially actually have a fucking reaction to that and not look like a fucking idiot. Like a fucking crazy, insane piece of shit. What, you think I'm bad? You look worse than me right now, and I'm yelling at a camera about people who exist online that I don't have to interact with, really, but I can't get away from them because I like talking about fucking video game stuff online and social media, and there's hey, let's just throw all this shit in your face because you'll like this, because, I don't know, you're a fucking video game freak, you're a fucking video game pervert, you're gonna like all the fucking rumors, shove it down your goddamn every open orifice. Please put those rumors in there, because that's what the algorithm loves. And I don't like it. And I don't really have much choice about that other than be like, just don't be on social media anymore. Fuck social media. Never talk to anybody, stay off the internet, then I won't ever know about it, right? I don't even know when Switch 2 even happens. I'll be like, oh, that's a thing, 5 years after it's out. I didn't even know it came out. Fuck! But, the thing is, basically, we're talking about these life cycles of consoles. The thing that's been coming up is a thing of, people were kind of upset that these PlayStation 5, they had the official announcement thing of, PlayStation 5 is in the latter half of its life cycle. People are like, what? And I get it, because when you hear that, you're like, it doesn't feel like it. It feels like it just came out. I think it came out in 2020. And you're like, so it feels like, since it's been hard to get with chip shortages and the pandemic and costs of things, and it's just, they haven't produced enough of them, and it's just hard to buy them even when they are out and all of that stuff. And then most of the games coming out are cross-gen, so you can also play them on PS4. So you don't really need a PS5, so there's not really PS5 exclusives, and even some of the exclusives also go to PC, so they're not really exclusive. Or they're multi-platform for other platforms, so they're not exclusive. It doesn't really feel like it's been out that long because it doesn't feel like there's been much of a reason to get a PS5, even if you have been able to. And a lot of people just haven't been able to. So it does seem weird. It feels weird. But as far as the console life cycles go, I mean, they're probably shooting for, usually you're looking at 6 to 8 years or something for like a console life cycle, somewhere in there. Like, I guess I don't know. I mean, yeah, the Switch has been out since 2017, so it's getting up there. Switch 2, it makes sense. You think another one of those would be out, especially because a lot of people have bought those, a lot of games have come out. And that seems like it's kind of aging tech. But that's kind of where I'm going with this. A big part of what I'm wondering with these life cycles of consoles is, where are we going from here? And it's kind of a weird place. Just because, like, again, like, I see the way forward for Nintendo is make a beefier system to play beefier games because they're weak. But, like, is a PlayStation 6 going to be noticeably better than a PlayStation 5? The way we've seen games like have the diminishing returns in tech, I just don't see it, right? Like I don't personally see it. Or like another Xbox system going from the Series X to that, I just don't see it. I mean, like, maybe there are things. Maybe stuff will look way better, load way faster, be way more efficient at whatever. Maybe those will be features, but I just don't see it. Like, you look at a game from like today and then like compare it to a game 20 years ago, right? That's going to look a lot different than a game 20 years ago compared to a game 20 years before that. Tech moved a lot faster before, but now with the diminishing returns, the place we're reaching, it's just like it's not going to have as much of an actual tangible impact for the average player, I don't think. And I don't know how you're going to sell that to people other than the hopefully, fear of missing out FOMO bullshit of like, it's new, you better get it. Or get left in the dust. I don't know. And I guess the way moving forward I would think Sony and Microsoft should just make Switch clones, and then they could pad out their, generation a little bit longer. Just have longer console generations, because big AAA games, whatever, they take so fucking long to make that you can only put out like one, maybe two of them per console because of how long the development cycles are. If you and I assume it's only going to get longer as they have greater expectations for things. So if you keep if you expand the console life cycle to help with that, you get more use out of your tech, and you're going to get more people you'll be able to get more games out on that. You also could work on maybe some games that aren't the biggest budget you could possibly crunch into a game. And this is to say nothing of all the other bullshit of subscriptions, DLC, microtransactions, season passes, early access, fucking episodic releases, several editions of the same fucking game immediately to pre-order even before it's even out. I mean, it's like there's so many ways they're trying to monetize things and shrinkflate the thing of like, how can we give you less and less content stretched out over more and more time but still get more and more money out of you is kind of the goal for a lot of this, and it's getting very tiresome. And I don't know, it's just, and I guess this kind of goes into my other gripes I was having. It was going to be a different episode, but fuck it, we're already ranting this much anyways. Big video game rant episode. Who gives a shit for modern gaming bullshit? We're also into the place right now where we're like, look, okay, the last point on that is just to say that like people who are freaking out over PlayStation 5 being in the latter half of its life cycle, which it theoretically makes sense that it is on paper, also realize that the Switch is also in its later half of its life cycle, and people don't seem to care about that. I mean, I guess Switch 2 is on the way, so that's probably why, and the Switch was well supported, so that's probably why. But I just want to throw that out there. Nobody was freaking out about that. Even though that makes sense too. Even though I think they could still extend the lifespan of the Switch even longer as well before they have to put out another system, if I'm being totally honest with you. But, whatever. I'm not an industry analyst thing. I don't know how this money goes with that. I don't know if that's correct. That's just how I feel as a gamer and an idiot. And then there's So then there's also this other thing where games are we're moving away from certain things of we're kind of moving more and more away from physical games. We've been doing it already anyways, but a lot of games are you can get a physical thing for it that's basically you put it in, it's okay, you own the game, and it lets you download the rest of it from online because only some of it's on there enough to access that you have it and then do that, and then you have a thing you can set on your shelf because that's that's definitely what people like the most about having physical games, was having a thing to throw on their shelf. It's not. There's definitely something to be said about having a cool thing. You can be like, oh, I own this. It's here. Here's my game. And like, it's the thing I have versus a digital thing in the ether. Just like I have a CD of a song with songs on it. This whole album is on this CD versus like I have every album this artist has ever made, every song they've ever done sitting in a fucking list of MP3s, or like sitting on a fucking, streaming service. But it doesn't mean anything because I don't really have it. It's not very personal. It's just kind of there in the ether with everything. And so it feels very different. The way we interact with physical media is different. And so I don't think you can just like give us a thing that's like kind of like it, but not really. Because later on, if you're like, I want to play this game now, and then you can't download it from online because the servers are offline because it's an old game that was in that phase of doing that, well, now it's kind of useless. Great, I have a coaster I can use now. I get awesome. A themed coaster. I don't know. Not a good coaster, but one that slides around and shit anyway. So it's not even like a good coaster. So that's not even a good excuse. Okay? But then there's like the thing of that, and like the idea of so many more games are going to this thing of like you need to download them, and they're digital, and they have the ability to take them away from you. Like a lot of people are mad about this stuff going away from like Discover content or something like that. Discovery, some shit was going off of like Sony stuff and PlayStation. Like they're like, hey, lots of licensing to this shit's getting pulled. If you're streaming stuff, shit, if that gets off the servers, that's just gone. You don't have access to it anymore. You're e-renting. When you're doing the subscription bullshit, you're e-renting. When you're, at least digital copies, a lot of times, usually you have them and you can play them, you have access to them still, so that's like okay. But when they're tied to a subscription thing especially, or if it's like a thing where they have access to the ability to go in and take it from you at any time, it's not the same. It's just having a physical thing you can put in and play. And that's the thing we're moving away from, and that's kind of scary, because I don't like the idea of just having to subscribe to every game I want to play, and doing it with, cloud services. It would be terrible, because the way internet is, it's not amazing everywhere, so like if you don't have the most amazing internet, it's going to be a worse experience, even though you save money on the hardware. And then where's hardware going to be if everybody's going to start doing third-party shit and throwing it everywhere, and everyone's going to have subscription packages that can be played on all these different devices? Are first-party people even going to bother making their devices anymore? Xbox so far is like, we're going to keep making things, they're saying that. All the major players are still saying they're going to do that, but how long are they going to still make their stuff? Especially with more and more things taken away from them, if they're going to lean into releasing stuff on other platforms, are they going to start moving away from the hardware market where you have fixed specs that you can, make your games for, and like actually like, tailor make them to like be optimized for that hardware? When you're starting to throw it on other shit, it's harder to optimize for it, even if it's getting easier in general to do at this point in time. It's still like you're doing a gamble, you're running a risk there, and like I don't know if I like that. I don't know if that's good. I don't know. So that's kind of where I'm sitting with a lot of that. It just seems like if they start going all digital, I'm probably just gonna play my impossible backlog that I already have, I guess, of physical and already downloaded I Own It digital stuff, and like have that be that, because I don't see the point, really. I don't really want to keep going forward if that's the way they're going to do that. And also, like, if the next Xbox doesn't have a disc drive on it for me to play my DVDs and Blu-ray through it, then like there's, I don't really need to upgrade, because that's what I needed to do primarily when I got an Xbox One S. And then I only got upgraded all the way to the Series X because I wanted the disc drive, and the Series S didn't have one. So I was like, I guess I got to get the really good one. That's a good explanation for it. That makes sense. That's reasonable. So I'm not saying that I'm a perfect consumer either with all my purchases and decisions, but whatever. So I don't know. Like there's just a whole lot of game stuff going on too, and it's like, so between the rumors and the weird shaky place of where we're sitting for like how console generations work, where we're looking to go in the future, what we're looking to do, and just a lot of this, it's just kind of culminated in this thing of like a really weird and very like vicious place to be, especially online. Just looking at all the stuff, I'm like, it is kind of scary of like, I don't know where games are headed, what they're going to be doing, how the industry is going to shift, or if it's going to try to stay, or if some of it will shift and some of it will try to stay, if someone's going to try to revert. I also think this gives limited run games a bit of a leg up. And they stand to make a pretty good profit off this thing too, because they're the ones still trying to make physical media. So if they're putting out the only physical copies you can get, then they can charge their prices for big name stuff. Even big companies can put their money behind them to do that, and they can make more money and maybe produce stuff faster than, you know, waiting a year for your fucking game to show up, maybe. But then, like, I don't know. So I mean, like, there's a lot of stuff to kind of take in here, and I think we're definitely at a place where we don't know what's happening next. We don't know where we're going with this, and it's a very uncertain time that I think has some people on. Some people are excited, some people are on edge, some people want to just not care, and it's hard to have all of these different places, all these different like standpoints existing under the same space of the internet. It is very difficult and exhausting, and that's why I shouted at you for however long this fucking thing was, because I feel like I've been absorbing all of this lately and trying to make sense of it, and it's hard and it sucks, and being a gamer right now is just it's don't do it. If you're not already one, don't get addicted to gaming right now. Bad time to be addicted to gaming, because there's a lot of weird shit that what it is right now when you get into it might not be what it is in just a couple of years, and it might all just suck anyway. So I don't know. That's it. That's the episode. That's the video.
What's the deal with saying